Yes, 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 yes. A million times, yes. We are here to be of service because we wanted to be able to explore this. This is significant and it has impacted many. So we are thrilled to be able to be here, to be able to explain and express to you our perspective of what you would call curses. And we are seeing it as expression of other people's free will to be able to impact others. And so feel free to start your questions and we will be able to guide and support and be able to call in the collectives to be able to help assist with this today.
Thank you so much. It's a really honor just to be able to speak with you today. So thank you so much. And to have this information to help everybody else, truly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We wanted to know and ask for all the collective to help with release and removing any curses. Has that even been released? Have people felt the release from this yet?
Yes, and when you start having these new perspectives of ears, listening, while the vehicle has done other work to be able to release people from we discussed those people who are addicted or who have used different drugs and have got themselves corded to certain collectives that are a lower density. We're wanting to say that this sounds and the words and the intentions that others place on others actually do something similar. And so you can block out certain information and not be able to resonate higher, vibrate higher, because you have been limited. Someone who can put what you would call a spell over you or a curse over you is stunting your vibrational growth to some degrees. And so this can look like repeating the same information over and over again. It is spellbinding you in some regards, because when you keep hearing the problems and the worries and the fears, you become completely we're saying some people can become completely convinced of what is being said. And so you are, in some regards, while it's not a curse, it is spellbound. So you are, the words are very powerful. And for those people who are not aware of their own truth and not connected into their own intuition, they give their own truth and intuition to others. They fully trust other people's information as if it's their own intuition, their own truth. And so when there is many statements on repeat about certain events, certain answers, certain information from even your history, when you hear enough, you accept it as is. And so your history books, you could say, are spellbinding you to be able to trust and understand sort of things. So this is how humanity has got really off path from connecting in. You also were discussing how it is almost antisocial, bad manners to share your challenges, emotional challenges. Some people we know love talking about their dramas because they are in victim mode and they want all that attention, but they never actually want to grow from that attention. They know something's wrong with them. They know they've had a hard time and they just want to own that experience again and again and again and again and again. And so they are stuck in their own spellbound because they're saying they're a victim. This is horrible. So-and-so did something to them. It's not good. It's not good. They're stuck in this tragedy. And so they're spellbinding themselves because they are repeating the same perception of something bad's happened to them. They are not wanting to look at the purpose. They're not wanting to look at the significance. They're not wanting to look at the growth, the purpose, the lessons there, because they are not able to get over the fact they had that experience in the first place. And when it feeds them, when it serves them to be having something that is so bad to them, so tragic. We see people who are using, for example, grief and being in mourning as just this. They get so much attention and support and sympathy that they just want to keep being in grief. It's got nothing to do with the person who's exited at all. It is about them being in grief and then other people giving them compassion and consideration and sympathy and meals.
had that before and they're just craving it so much and they got used to it. They just want more of that.
Mhm. And so what they are learning is that you get a lot of attention for loss. You get a lot of attention for not seeing things from the bigger perspective, is what we could say. So there is much that you tell yourselves when you're not in your full truth, that you are even cursing and spellbounding over yourself. And so you must
How can
be
you
aware.
explain? Oh, sorry. No. How can you explain to somebody though that that's like a negative curse or a negative way of living, that they can get so much more attention with more positivity, different? Like, how can you explain that to a human to get attention with the most positive outcome?
You could start celebrating their positive distractions when they're actually trying to empower themselves. And so you have to start different conversations. If they're looping constantly, wanting to talk about there's a difference between when someone's having a conversation with you and owning their density and their inner work, and you're hearing them talking about how they're overcoming it versus just their density, just their traumas. And so it is about you listening to what are they really sharing with you? Are they sharing with you their traumas and how they're empowering themselves through it to see things from a purpose and a bigger perspective and trust all as well? Or are they just looping with the tragedy? And so for those people who are stuck in the tragedy, you could then start changing the conversation to be able to empower them, to remind them of other experiences that are exciting, positive, and good. But you have to at least acknowledge and honor their tragedy. That is so sad for you. That is something that is very heartbreaking. You have to acknowledge it. You have to address it. You have to give them support initially. But when you realize that they're wanting that support over and over and over again, you realize that you're in this loop with each other. And so you
Mhm.
need to be able to empower them through it. And if you're going to be talking to someone who's stuck in grief, then you can share your truth about this is why I feel that reincarnation is such a gift, and it is confusing to understand, but I have such great faith in reincarnation, and this makes me feel positive that this person is now still having their own soul journey. This is hard conversation to have, because people then feel very frustrated that they're not with that soul any longer, and that soul potentially could be doing better and greater things without them. So it's so unique and so delicate having conversations with people who are not realizing that they're stuck in certain loops. And so you have to find ways to empower them to be able to empower themselves. It is a tricky conversation to have, but now we are going to be able to open up people's mindsets and perspectives to realize that they're so exhausted with looping, and they're so frustrated that it's not comforting them anymore, because they're not empowering themselves when they're not empowering themselves and they're constantly seeking outside confirmation and attention and love. We're going to sort of step them aside energetically from others to be able to truly focus on self. And we really want people to really focus on self. And this is why we have given many opportunities to have going within moments. You could say that your classic example would be the lockdowns that you all experienced, where you can't entertain others. You have to sit with self and be with self, and start smaller again. And we know that while it was stressful for you, for example, it gave you a great opportunity to really just honor yourself, and you actually started being your own caregiver, because while you're so great and gracious with helping others, there are still some aspects that you were having back in 2020 where you were not able to return your grace and joy to yourself. And so we loved that for you, that you did that and you used your time so wisely. And that empowered you, which therefore empowered others all around you as you grew. We could not be more proud of it for you. And the vehicle is feeling tearful because we are showing her our true love and gratitude to you, because you are truly, as the vehicle had said, you are a very bright, shining star in our hearts. And our
you're gonna make me cry. That's the biggest compliment I can get. Thank you so much.
We want to remind you that every time you do quantum sessions, we're always with you, just like we're always with you in your daily lives. But you are so human, but in the most beautiful of ways. And so you inspire so many, and many people look up to you. And while that is quite a responsibility, you don't let it weigh on you. It inspires you, and that is the best way to take that approach. And we are very grateful for you to be so mature with your responsibilities.
Thank you, but I do know I'm never alone, and I got my team with me all the time. So I thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I wanted to know another question. If you could show us or give us examples on how all these curses we've been talking about have impacted people, and explore how people have been placed under these spells.
So your televisions and you could say it starts off even with teachers who are telling you disinformation and telling you limited perspectives. And so when you start learning about your solar system, for example, or you learning in your churches and in your religious doctrinations about certain things, you take that on board as sponges, but it's very confusing because intuitively it doesn't resonate 100%. And so it's very confusing. And so because they're so certain with their information and their doctrinations, many people dismiss their own intuition and just surrender and accept, because it's so easy to just accept what you've been told versus feeling within. And we're wanting to say even simply the range of colors you could sense. As a child, everything is a lot more brighter and it has a bigger range, but you are being taught and told only about a handful of colors. And yet you could actually sense a lot more range and spectrums, but because they're not focused on, you almost tuned them out. And so there is a natural range that the colors can be seen by the 3D eye, but it's more than you can even assume. And so you only focus on, say, the primary colors, but intuitively, you know that there is much more bigger range. And that's just a small example of how you're only told to focus on certain things and not the full. And while it's not crippling you to not know all of the frequencies and colors and names of certain color vibrations, this is a great example of understanding how you've only been taught a small fraction, and it is very manipulative what you have been taught in your school systems, for example, and this is how it starts from a very young age.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. So I wanted to know, do most people have a good intuition where they go against their gut feelings for the most part? Like, how does that work?
We are pushing people harder to really sense their gut intuition. Some people freak out and think it's digestive problems or stress or anxiety or panic attacks. So we just keep trying many different ways to be able to get people to have a think about what they're actually experiencing. We have encouraged many doctors and many nurses to actually start speaking alternatively as they are starting to sow seeds themselves to people. So everyone's been given opportunities to start thinking beyond their limited color spectrum that they've been talked about and told about certain health issues and body symptoms. And This is why so many people are talking about ascension symptoms right now, and calling it a whole lot of different things, just to be able to understand it may not be something negative, a medical issue or problem. While there are very many people that are very strong loyalists to the medical industry for whatever reasons, many people are starting to feeling a natural distrust from certain industries, as there is more truth being shared intuitively. People are, because the frequency of the vibrations that they're holding now in their physical bodies are so much higher, regardless of whether they want to be higher or not. We have ramped up their bodies over time to be more receptive to the truth. So they feel the truth more easily now, because it has a different frequency than, say, distruth, and something that could harm them. It doesn't have true intentions and integrity. You may not even know anything about your own intuition, but you are going to be just intuitively guided to what is right and what serves you and what no longer serves you. And you can use your free will to dismiss that and keep disempowering yourselves. But people are starting to waken up to just being fed up with that density. And they have had some moments of clarity where they have felt that higher frequency of truth, and they really appreciate that. It is so refreshing. So they are still seeking to find that truth. They will hold on to it more and stop paying attention to that density.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful information. But is there something I can say to my random clients, especially doing hair every day, that I can, because they don't know what intuition is. They almost feel like, oh, if my gut feels off or my head just said something, but then half of them feel like they follow the intuition and they follow the wrong intuition. And I'm trying to find a balance to explain that to them so they get a aha of like what to follow and how to follow it and what does that feel like exactly.
When you remember what you're here to experience in this 3D planet is the range of emotions to find yourself back to love of self and love of others. And when you empower someone to share your feelings and senses of them, that you love them, that you see them, they're just such beautiful beings, that they're trying so hard to find the joy in life, the magic in life. This will remind them what they're supposed to be focusing on versus their challenges of experiences. So it is about reminding them of the great joys that they have in life. When you see them smile, when you celebrate their joy, when you celebrate their beauty, when you leave them as they leave you from their appointments, you empower them with your integrity by telling them how beautiful they look and how that smile just looks so good on them. This will carry through. That is the high frequency they want to focus on. And this is what they want to grow from, is feeling good about themselves, starting to love themselves. It's not about the dramas that they carry with you and try to help you. They try to get you to help them fix them. Often they're not even wanting advice. They just want to share their challenges and to just be heard. So because they're listening to themselves too, and their talk therapy, what they share with you surprises even them as they're driving home in their cars, and they think, gosh, I didn't realize how much I thought about or felt about a certain thing, but they were sharing with you, which truly is them sharing and being honest with self. And when they can start identifying their own problems, they start revaluing it. You may forget their conversation as you go on to the next client, but the entire time that they see before they see you next, they are working through their own inner work that they shared with you. They are holding on to what they shared with you because they want to improve themselves. So when they talk to you next, they've got something more and new to say, because they don't want to loop themselves. They're wanting to share growth with you. And so when you are seeing them talking about things that have grown from their last conversation, celebrate that, support them through that.
Beautiful. Thank you. I do recognize a lot of that. So it's just like putting me in check to like keep that up. So thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
And I'm going back to curses. Why is it that some people are never touched by that at all? Are they like heavily thick protected? And other people are just seems like everything they touch, see, do, be, it's always going to like shit and hell through and through. Is there a reason for that?
Mm.
Or can I explain?
It's all like contracts. And so certain people are needing to have these limitations for them to grow independently and empower themselves through it. Other people do not want to have this lesson in life because they just want to be able to already be empowered of self. And so they're not going to resonate with the school system, for example, and would be the what you classify as school dropouts, because they already know their true truth. They already know that they're valuable. They already got great skill sets, and they go on to do brilliant things in their own, industries. If which is usually manual and other creative outlets. So this is can be really challenging when people are learning they can't work within the educational system, so they will leave the educational system to empower themselves to then do something else. And so usually they're guided, but they're just not interested in spending time with nonsense. And they feel physically uncomfortable being exposed to nonsense that is their own, goes against their intuition. They may not even understand the reason why they just needed to leave that school, needed to leave the education system, but it's purposeful for them. Many great intuitive beings also knew that a part of their life contract, if they found lots of abundance of money, for example, they would misuse it. And so usually great light workers are the very intuitive people who are doing very humble work and have a humble salary and income, because anything more could flip them into something that is less, that it would change their focus. The true blessings and joy in life are free. And the more money you have, it seems the more you distract yourselves from other gadgets and materialism versus actually going to the core root value of these life experiences and empowering yourself with the true feelings and expressions rather than gadgets.
Yes, I agree with that. Beautiful. Yes, thank you. I know I keep saying I need an island of people that just live off the earth and don't care about nothing, and it'd be so beautiful. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yes,
only one island, I guess.
and that's what we would call the new earth.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Oh wow. Is there any other messages you'd like to give us about curses, how to understand if it's all been done properly, if it's heading the right way? Any last messages or messages about that?
Yes, there have been some that have got mean intentions and agendas behind it. And so that is people using their free will to disempower others just because of their own insecurities and personal gain. And so we have released that, but it felt very sickening as we were releasing it, because it was making people really notice that impact before it was left. And so people were triggered to think about certain people who had placed those spells upon them, and to be able to really feel into that agenda. And so now that people have been released from it, they can see truly the agenda of those people. And, there's been some big work happening. So a lot of people are really noticing that they suddenly were thinking about, say, for example, ex-partners or old friends that had jealousy and frustrations and resentment and have done certain things. Humans are very powerful, and when you set the intentions to want ill will for others, it does get felt. Your free will is very powerful. And so this is why a lot of people were told originally just think of love and light, because so many people were bitter and so powerful that if they started thinking about their traumas and frustrations about certain people, they could really disempower those people without realizing it. You are so powerful. So when you set your intentions to hate someone, for example, you are impacting yourself, and you have potentially the chances and opportunities to impact that person that you are sending that ill integrity intentions to. It's energy. It's all energy.
It is. Thank you. So I wanted to know, what's the difference between I'm still kind of with the curse and spells. I just had a thought. Like if someone's doing a lot of word, I was taught a long time ago, every word is special. That's why we call it spelling. You have to be careful what you think, what you say out loud. But then if you're thinking that, but your contract has nothing to do with that, can it really affect you if your life contract has nothing to do with curses or spelling?
Because some people have contracts to be able to overcome that. That's for sure. Just like with your education, for example, you're supposed to really do your own research and not just trust the person that is leading you as your teachers. You are supposed to. But the thing is that most children forget what they were taught at school. So they just don't reflect on the foundations of their knowledge and wisdom for this planet. But it may not be. You don't need to know all the history to be able to do your inner work here and to work out your life contract. So it doesn't really impact you. So you're right. If there is contracts there, it will be played out. And this is the reason why we know that some people have wanted to use their free will to kill others. And when that's not part of your life contract, it doesn't occur. But it can be close, it can cause accidents, but we will come in and be able to stop that. And so it is very purposeful what is happening, but you're always protected. It is on the person's soul to relive that when they reflect back on how powerful they were and how much they impacted others with negativity. That is a lesson that they need to experience. Many who have come here this lifetime have got the strong sense that they shouldn't be hurting others. And so this is those people who will be constantly viewing the world with only love and light, only love and light, only love and light. Because they have been so detrimental to others in other lifetimes, they have this mantra, I must only be in love and light, because they have got karmic contracts to pay out, because they have been such disempowering of others. But it's all very purposeful, those beings who only want to focus on love and light, because they know that in other lifetimes they haven't been love and light, and they have disempowered and hurt many through their actions.
Okay. Totally understand that. And I have to say, you guys have magical powers, and I can't wait to remember or to know how it all works, because these guys are beautiful. And I thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do for everybody here and everybody around, and every soul and every energy form. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And we appreciate your respect to us, and we view you as our earth angel, because you are just so gracious with your energy, and you have got the demeanor of just a pure you are fully embodying an angel on earth, from our perspective, because you just have that great love, that depth of compassion. And this is why so many people will go above and beyond to help you, because they see you, they celebrate you, they want to nurture you and encourage you, because you mean so much to them. And so this is such a great way. You are their teachers. You are empowering many, and you don't need to have a big fanfare. You don't want to be anything just but yourself. You're so comfortable with yourself, and you're so proud of yourself, because you know that everything you do has got the best intentions for everyone. And this is what we would love for others to see. And your impact is so profound, because every client you see goes and takes that approach to life, and they share it with their friends and family. And you do not see the profound ripple effect that you are making within your community You
Wow.
are so strong, and we are so proud of you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. It just warms my heart to hear how far all these words and energy and everything I work for so hard every day on everybody that's actually paying off. So, wow, thank you so much to have me hear those words coming from you.
Yes, we
Thank
just wanted to confirm that yes, everything you do does indeed count, and you do indeed matter, and you are so on point and of service. And this is why you have no lack of abundance. This is why you are so comfortable with your way of life, because you attract such great things to come to you, including your clients. And so
you.
you have nothing to fear. And that is truly because you've done all of this work, and because you have such great integrity, you have got true, honest inner peace.
Beautiful. My goodness, beautiful. I'm wondering if there's any kind of healing we can send through everyone that got their curses released, or any kind of epiphany, just to
Mm.
have healing to make it more comfortable so the adjustment isn't so like rocky, like a bad airplane ride.
Hmm. Yes, we understand. We were wanting this shift, this dramatic shift of feelings, though, for them to really notice the difference. If it's subtle, they don't notice. So we're wanting them to shift from a deep density into a massive enlightenment. And we needed them to experience the contrasts for them to realize that they want to keep seeking out that higher frequency. And so it is, while we have been gradually raising the frequency of humans and for humanity on this planet, which is very purposeful and significant to purge all the natural densities themselves, when we give you a jolt and an upgrade, it's so sort of dramatic, it gets your attention. Most people are living in autopilot, and we're not getting their attention enough. They keep distancing. So this is when you get the profound sick upgrades, in quotation marks, viruses or something else.
Definitely makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, totally understand that now. Is there any other messages at all you'd like to share with us for today, or anything new, or anything at all?
All is well. We see that there is much growth from these new upgrades, and people are starting to resonate with this frequency more commonly now and more frequently. And this is good news for us. While it's still taking a lot longer than we had anticipated, we understand it's very draining for many. We're wanting those who are holding the light, who are still motivated to be of service, to continue growing and going. And we're very proud of you. And while we are not supporting those who are not being of service as much, we are still here willing to step up and support you when you choose to step up and support yourself and others.
Thank you.
We're always with you, but we cannot keep supporting those who are not supporting others. And this is, you must understand, this is not a mean thing. We're not walking away from you, but we're not going to honor you when you're not honoring yourself and others. So those people who are just, for example, wanting $1 million, well, why do you need that $1 million? For example, people are misusing us. They think that we are their sugar daddies, and we're not. We are trying to empower you. And when you remove yourself from density, when you remove yourselves from the perception of lack, you will always get abundance. But when you're focusing on what you don't have versus working hard to empower yourself and others, there's a world of difference.
Yes, and I see it as a parent role. You hear parents say, I'll only help you if you help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see how the team can only help.
Mm. And we are saying that we're not going to give you dessert until you clean your room. And then when we say clean your room, we're saying clean your density, clean your traumas, clean your attitudes, clean your perceptions, clean up yourself, step up, step up, step up, speak your truth, and be honoring yourselves. Stop limiting yourselves and stop living in a junk fest room.
Yeah, thank you. But is there a way to help people with speaking truth? Because that's something we're so like, I hear that phrase a lot, but like I just mentioned to Joe earlier, most people can speak their spouses with truth. So how
Mm.
are they supposed to speak truth? Is there a way to like help humanity with that? I don't know if there's a healing or something.
Mhm.
What can be done about that?
So we find the most effective way is to give them very sore throats where they can't speak. And it bothers them so much because suddenly, because they can't speak, they're having to focus on their thoughts. Most of you speak without thinking. We change that. When you can't speak, you must think. And then therefore, when you start focusing on your thoughts, you can start feeling into yourself. Then when you don't have the sore throat and you can speak freely and clearly, you have got a little bit more connection of your senses and your true thoughts and integrity. So you're a little bit more aligned. When something gets taken away from you, you focus on it a little bit more when it gets returned back to you.
Very purposeful. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. All right. I'm just going to ask one more time. Any more last messages? Make sure, because I know you can talk to us for a long time, and I love hearing all your messages. But if there's anything else.
Yes, and we appreciate that. We do have lots of things to say, and we always could have lots of things to say and share. But we want to just impress it all as well. And for those who are struggling to find their balance, we have already encouraged you to step up. And when you know you're unbreakable, when you know that you're only limiting yourself in fear of judgment of others, start going small, start sharing your love of others, and start truly embracing people that you know are out there following you, listening to you. Your reach is vast. So just because you may do a post or call a friend or something, just check your expectations of why you're doing certain things. Are you wanting to just share your truth because you're proud of your truth and you honor your truth and you're just letting the world know? Or do you post things wanting recognition, communications, and connections? If you're posting because you really want so-and-so to read this and see your point of view, why don't you take that next step and reach out to them directly? Those people that are on your minds, you need to reach out to them. You must reach out to them. There is a reason why they're on your minds repetitively. You must reach out.
Yes, I feel like that's a sign from the guides. Every time you get that name that pops up a lot, like we need to do that more often, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it is just a message of I love you, I hope all is well,
Mhm.
then that is the most kindest thing you can say to people. I love you. I hope all is well.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful as always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And we say this with love.